Today is Friday, September 24th. Welcome to this edition of Nevada County Now. Today's episode, we're talking new mural, 10-digit dialing, housing, and more. This episode is brought to you in part by Stifel Financial, and also the generous donations of viewers like you. Thank you. Hello and welcome to Nevada County Now. I'm your host, Cole Pettit. Last week we showed you the Nevada City Rancheria Nisenan Tribe's gallery in Nevada City. Now, after Tuesday's Grass Valley Planning Commission meeting, there is set to be more Nisenan art visible to the public. The commission voted unanimously to approve the creation of a mural which will adorn the Tri-Counties Bank building at 305 Neal Street. Artist Nikila Badua, who worked with Shelley Covert to come up with the design, explained the concept for the mural.
But the story comes from Shelley's family, and basically the woman in the piece that's featured is her niece, and the basket that is featured is actually a basket that comes from her direct lineage. You know, basket patterns in tribal cultures is very personal. In the Nisenan culture, you know, they really view their baskets as living beings. You know, from the beginning of when you're harvesting the reeds to the willow, to weaving it, to the life that it lives, and then to how it actually returns back to the earth. And they see it as an equally living being. They honor them like living beings still to this day. And so that's what this piece is about. What's coming out of her niece's mouth is the song, and it's in the form of their personal basket pattern that comes from their lineage. And it also features the black oak tree, which is one of the most sacred trees to the tribe. And the acorns that are falling to the ground, you know, that was one of their main sustenance foods. And the orange banner that goes across the top, it's actually part of the branding from Shelley's nonprofit, Chirp. And that branding is called, it's a flicker feather headband that is used as the regalia for their fire ceremonies. And many California tribes actually use this headdress. And so a lot of times, though, when you see the different California tribes wearing the headdress and dancing with ceremonially, you will only see the men. And you know what is kind of coming to light in the more recent times is that the women also traditionally used to wear the regalia, this same regalia, and do the dances. So it's an innovative way to bring this concept back to the California tribes. And so that's why she really wanted to show this on a woman.
Look for progress on the mural to begin sometime in October. We continue to focus on building a deeper understanding of the issues surrounding housing with emphasis on affordable housing. MaryJane Hunegart joins us once again to tell us about the low-income housing tax credit and how it's helped to fund several local projects.
Hello, Nevada County. We're dedicating September and October to the topic of local housing, so today I'm continuing in that vein. Specifically, today I'm going to talk about a tool meant to help solve the problems of producing and preserving affordable housing for low-income folks, especially in the midst of real estate booms that can be pretty devastating to the people who are priced out of their communities. Developers seeking a profit jump on the opportunities to rehab or rebuild homes in cool up-and-coming areas for which they then get top dollar, which makes them happy and makes the people who can afford them happy. But what about the other guys? Perhaps no phrase sparks joy in the politically moderate heart quite like public-private partnership. Even back in the 1980s, people were getting creative with it. In '86, a federal program was implemented that encouraged public-private partnerships to expand the availability of affordable housing by making it more profitable for investors, the Low Income Housing Tax Credit, or LIHTC. California jumped on board in '87 and created a state LIHTC. The incentive is a dollar-for-dollar reduction in federal and state tax liabilities for private developers and investors when they provide financing to construct new or renovate affordable housing. Then, owners need to keep the units rent restricted and available to low-income tenants for at least 30 years. There's an application process, cost certification, and submission of compliance forms that must be done on an annual basis to make sure that everyone's holding up their end of the bargain. Quick disclaimer, that was a very simple explanation of a very complicated tax credit. If you want to know more, talk to a CPA because I'm definitely not getting into the nitty-gritty. Let's zoom down into Nevada County here. We're on a roll with developers taking advantage of this tax credit program. We've actually been benefiting from the LIHTC since 1989, when the Grass Valley Senior Apartments were built. Between then and 2015, 1,282 low-income restricted housing units have been placed in service throughout Nevada County using LIHTC funds, including the town of Truckee. After 2015, there was a lull in investors taking advantage of the program, but over the past couple years, several LIHTC programs have popped up, including the Lone Oak Senior Apartments in Penn Valley, which will have 31 new units of affordable senior housing, the Frischman Hollow 2 project in the town of Truckee, 67 low-income units, the Brunswick Commons project, which will be 28 units of low-income housing and 12 units of permanent supporting housing for chronically homeless individuals with severe mental illness who are receiving support services from the county's Department of Behavioral Health, and Cashin's Field in Nevada City, 51 affordable units. There are more developers jumping on this opportunity, renewing properties' LIHTC statuses, and adding low-income housing to existing developments in order to qualify for the tax credits. Back in June 2020, California Governor Gavin Newsom signed the 2020 Budget Act for the state of California, and this act included a $500 million expansion of the LIHTC. In its 2021 housing report, the California Housing Partnership made several policy recommendations, including making last year's $500 million LIHTC injection annual and permanent. So, public-private partnership investors, what's the next affordable housing project going to be? It has been my privilege to bring you a brief piece on a local political issue. Again, I'm dedicating September and October to local housing. Email me at ncnpolitics@gmail.com to comment on this piece or suggest a topic for a future segment. And remember, when it comes to politics, if you're not at the table, you might be on the menu. Thanks for staying informed, Nevada County.
Thanks, MaryJane. Now we'll shift gears a bit and hear a quick message from Shavati Karki Public Sector Manager for Waste Management, where she'll give us a brief history of recycling in the WM Minute.
Thank you, Cole, and welcome to the WM Minute. Today I'll be discussing the history of recycling. As long as there have been raw materials, there has been recycling. In the US, the evolution of recycling dates back to 1776, when patriots pulled down a statue of King George III and melted it down to create over 42,000 bullets during the American War of Independence. In 1897, a material recovery center was built in New York, and usable material was separated from trash in picking yards. From 1916 to 1940, during the period of the two world wars and the Great Depression, popular slogans such as "Don't waste it, save it" showed how recycling became critical to survival as well as the war efforts. One of the biggest movements in the history of recycling happened in 1970, with 20 million people taking part in the Earth Day marches. The Mobius Loop logo, which is associated with the Reduce, Reuse, and Recycle slogan, was also created that year. Fast forward to today, the US recycled about 32% of its waste, and globally only 20% is recycled. Thanks for listening. Tune in next time to find out why in the next episode of the WM Minute.
Thanks, Shavati. The downward trend in COVID cases continued this week. However, there is still significant spread throughout the community. We had an increase of 189 cases this week, bringing our total to 8,261 confirmed cases. 637 cases are currently active, with 19 hospitalizations, and our death toll remained stable this week at 92. With more on the COVID situation, as well as additional news from the county, here's Taylor Wolfe, Public Information Officer for the County of Nevada.
Thanks, Cole. For today's Nevada County update, I'll share the latest on COVID-19, information on how local businesses can participate in Military Appreciation Week in November, and a reminder, as always, to stay fire safe this fall. COVID transmission in Nevada County continues to stay lower than what we saw in August and early September. However, our current transmission rates are still relatively high compared to what we've seen throughout the pandemic, and would continue to land us in the most restrictive purple tier if the state's tier system were still in place. If you are experiencing COVID-like symptoms or have a COVID exposure, book an appointment at lhi.care/COVID testing for a free COVID test. Making headlines this week, the FDA approved Pfizer booster shots for older and at-risk individuals Wednesday evening. This is just the first of several steps to making Pfizer booster shots available to those 65 and older and those 18 and older at high risk, such as healthcare workers, teachers, daycare staff, and grocery store workers, among others. Nevada County's Deputy Health Officer, Dr. Glenna Trochet, explains more about the steps in the approval process.
Pfizer submitted data about boosters to the FDA, and the FDA reviewed that data and last week made a recommendation that boosters be allowed for people who receive Pfizer. That doesn't automatically cause everybody to start getting boosters. The next step is that the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices, known as ACIP, meets. This is a group of experts that are not necessarily government employees, although there are some local health officials that are part of ACIP. They meet together, they look at all the data, and they make recommendations to the CDC. The CDC then takes a look at those recommendations and either adopts them or doesn't, and makes the recommendation for the boosters. And then everybody in the nation, all the healthcare providers, follow those recommendations. The gossip that we're hearing is that boosters will be recommended for older people and people with underlying conditions. When I say older, I'm not sure what that means. I'm hearing 65 and older or 60 and older. Somewhere in that area will be the recommendation for the boosters for people that don't have underlying health conditions. So that's the story with the boosters. Early in the pandemic, we had extra resources available to us to have these mass vaccination clinics that were held. You all remember our Whispering Pines clinic that gave thousands of immunizations. Those resources are not available now. So we will be relying on our partners in healthcare to give these booster doses.
Thank you, Dr. Trochet. Over 64% of eligible Nevada County residents are fully vaccinated. All 3 vaccines are safe, effective at preventing serious illness, free and widely available for anyone 12 and older. Those looking to get their first or second dose can make their appointment or find a nearby walk-in clinic at myturn.ca.gov. There have been over 90 COVID deaths in Nevada County. The COVID-19 Remembrance Memorial was installed at the Madeline Helling Library this week and will be in place at this location for the next 6 weeks. The memorial remembers the lives lost to COVID-19 in Nevada County and gives the community a place to grieve. The community is invited to visit the memorial, write messages, and send condolences on the papers attached. Nevada County is inviting local businesses to participate in Military Appreciation Week, an effort to honor and show our community appreciation for active military members and veterans during the week of Veterans Day, November 6th through 14th. If businesses are interested in participating by providing discounts or special offers to local veterans and military members, find more information and register at mynevadacounty.com/military appreciation. The first day of fall was this Wednesday, but don't put your go bag away yet. Stay ready, Nevada County, by keeping that go bag packed, knowing your zone, signing up for Code Red emergency alerts, and, of course, being prepared for possible PG&E public safety power shutoff events. Fire season won't be over until our first substantial rain. That's it for my Nevada County update this week. Find all this information and more by subscribing to our weekly newsletter at mynevadacounty.com/Nevada County News. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Taylor. A change is coming for telephone calls. Beginning in 1 month on October 24th, in the 530 area code, you must dial 10 digits, both the area code and telephone number, for all local calls. On and after this date, local calls dialed with only 7 digits may not connect, and a recording will inform you that your call cannot be completed as dialed. Transitioning to 10-digit dialing will not affect your current telephone number. Your phone number, including your area code, will stay the same. This change is to prepare for implementation of a quick way to dial the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline using only 988, in a similar way to how 911 is used. The FCC established 988 as the new nationwide 3-digit phone number for the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline in 2020. The new 3-digit dialing code will be available nationwide by July 16th, 2022. Do you have friends or family members who've had some amazing life experiences? Perhaps they're full of memories and stories that you'd like to hold on to and pass on to others. Here at Nevada County Media, we've created a new service to help you do just that. You can choose if you're doing an audio-only or video narration piece, or just having a conversation between two people. Nevada County Media will help you capture the high-quality recording, and then you can choose to take the raw footage, or we can help you edit it together. Visit our website, nevadacountymedia.org, and click the Services tab to find out all the details. We'll leave you this evening with a preview of this service. And remember, stay safe, take care of each other. We'll see you next week.
So she decided that we should make our own headstone. That way we have what we want on it instead of somebody else putting something. So when she talked to our daughter Allison, Allison said, yeah, I'll just put mother, daughter, granddaughter, and stuff like that. And Maria decided that wasn't good enough. So we went to Hooper Weaver, and then we had a layout of what we wanted on the stone. And on the stone, it has our wedding picture. And on it, it says, thank you for choosing me. And it also has Amor Eterno, which means eternal love. And she's got areas to put flowers in. So they made this plaque, put it in the ground, and we went and visited ourselves and took flowers to ourselves.